Young professionals of the 1960s had 3 martini lunches. Today's have after-work panel discussions sponsored by liquor companies. On a recent evening, 8 women gathered at an auditorium in the Santa Monica headquarters of Hulu, the contenting service. Doyen, a year-old private club for women, had partnered with Hulu's women's arm, Hula, to host a panel about the advancement of women in the entertainment industry. It had been planned in August. Every week, there's been something to inspire us to go further. Betsy Rosenberg, one of the club's founders, said before the event. She wore a drapey cardigan over a green slip dress. It's Harvey Weinstein now, her co-founder, Natasha Hildebrand, who wore a red lace sheath, said. A month and a half ago, it was that engineer at Google. 3 weeks before that, it was Travis Kalanick. Before that, it was Donald Trump. Rosenberg, a former manager for Talpa Media, and Hildebrand, who previously worked for the Creative Artists Agency, started Doyen to introduce accomplished executive women to up-and-comers in need of advice. The qualifications for membership, beyond not being male, you have to be kind, you have to be inclusive, Rosenberg said. She's being polite. Hildebrand said. No dicks allowed. Johnny Walker provided whiskey cocktails with girlish adornments, purple flowers, Earl Grey as a mixer. Young women in smart blazers piled crudités onto plastic plates. Leah McIsaacruff, a Hulu manager and a Hulu board member, had organized a similar gathering after the allegations against Weinstein first surfaced. 80 or so employees had discussed things people routinely say to excuse workplace UAL harassment. I didn't think it was such a big deal. That's just who they are. Now we're going back to our human resources organization with proposals, McIsaacruff said. Like, maybe we want an anonymous phone line. The panel's moderator, Christina Woody Train, a brand strategist, conducted a show of hands survey. How many of you have been working for less than 10 years? Half. How many of you are under 30? Most. How many of you have ever felt stagnant or uninspired in your career? All. Some panelists offered platitudes typical of women's conferences. Success is really exhausting, Natalie Tran, from CAA's Philanthropic Foundation, said. But Lisa Filippelli, the founder of Flip Management, offered concrete advice. If you're asking for a raise, think strategically, she said. What your friends being paid? Women don't often talk to each other about what they're making. Talk to them, talk to men. Ask. Attendees divided into groups with each of the panelists. 15 women encircled Filippelli, who wore an olive green dress and over-the-knee boots. I'm way over-delivering and way underpaid, an employee at a food-themed social network said. How do you even start that conversation? I actually grew up kind of poor, said Filippelli, who described commuting 4 hours, by bus between her college, in Pennsylvania, and her first internship, in Manhattan. My family lived off food stamps at one point. I worked multiple jobs through a lot of my career. Every time I negotiated, I proved my value in what I was delivering. I outlined it. Hey, I generated $300,000 for you, and you're paying me $60,000. That's unfair. A Hulu employee asked, how have you navigated the gender gap? When I was in my early 20s, I was very aware of my physical appearance, because I knew that would get the attention of people so that I could then let them know how smart I was, Filippelli said. The politics are so dumb. I don't think any woman should have to dress a certain way, or behave a certain way, or know a certain person to get ahead in the career. They should just be good at what they do. I think we're starting to finally see that shift in Hollywood, but it's slow and it's painful and it sucks to have to use certain things to your advantage. Some of the women sighed, others nodded knowingly. A woman in jeans and a green sweater asked a follow-up, have you ever walked into a room and felt that, because you're so confident and good at what you do, you're made to feel like you're aggressive, every single day of my life? Filippelli answered, I'm so fine with being called aggressive. I don't need to be nice, I don't need to be pretty. It's not a thing that's ever bothered me. It can be tough for some women, to get those labels. But I'm just sort of, like, fuck it. She grinned and threw her hands up. Honestly, I'm a bad bitch, if I am a bitch. Diamond suit.